My husband let his best man propose on our wedding day even though I said no. Me and my husband have been planning this wedding for over a year. We were agreeing on everything except when the matter of the guest list came up. Now, I knew that my boyfriend was going to make his friend Jacob as his best man. Jacob can be a little self-centered at times. When we go out with friends, he would always order the most expensive meal and then later argue that we split the bill evenly because that was just less work. He often makes and cancels plans as he wishes, even though it can mess up my entire schedule. This one time, I was planning on going on a lovely dinner date with my boyfriend, but Jacob showed up at our house unannounced with drinks and said that he wanted to spend some time with his best friend. I tried telling him that we aren't free today, but my boyfriend insisted that we have our date next week since Jacob was already here. That being said, I supported my boyfriend's decision of making him the best man because it was his choice and not mine. I thought that I could tolerate him for one day for my future husband's sake, but I was wrong. A few months ago, my boyfriend randomly said that Jacob wanted to propose at our wedding reception. I firmly rejected that idea because that day was meant for us and not him. Of course, I would be very happy to help him in his proposal, but doing it on our wedding day was just stealing the attention from the newly married couple. I had heard other stories of people doing this and absolutely despised the idea. My boyfriend agreed with me and told Jacob that he can propose on a later date, or so I thought. Leading up to the wedding, I was asked multiple times whether he could do his proposal during our reception. Jacob argued that it would be the only day where they would both be dressed formally for the pictures, and he wanted a good memory. Every single time I had to shut it down by saying that that day was special to us, and I didn't want to have it ruined. I was surprised that they were so insistent, especially my boyfriend. I wanted my special day to be perfect, and explained that to my boyfriend for the fourth time 1 month before the wedding. That was the last day we talked about this, and I thought they had finally given up on the idea. On the day of the wedding, I noticed my now husband and Jacob talking in secret a few times, but I ignored it thinking it was nothing. Everything, including the ceremony, went amazingly up until the reception. We were sitting, watching a slideshow of our beautiful memories, and were about to do our couple's dance, when Jacob suddenly snatched the mic and instructed everyone to be quiet. He had already performed his best man speech before this, so everyone was surprised. I hoped that he wasn't going to do what I think he was, because I had already rejected the idea. I looked towards my husband, hoping he would stop his friend, but to my surprise, he had run off and come back holding something. He was holding flowers and a placard that had the words, "Will you marry me?" on it. As Jacob's girlfriend walked in the middle, my biggest fear came true, and I ran off because I just couldn't take it anymore. I shut myself in my room and began crying my eyes out. When my husband walked in the room, he began yelling at me, telling me to grow up. He accused me of ruining the special moment because I was an attention seeker and couldn't stand others being happy. It wasn't the proposal that angered me so much, but the fact that my own husband had completely disregarded my wishes. I had told him multiple times that I didn't want this, and yet he allowed this to happen anyway. I decided that I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with someone who doesn't care about my opinion. I told him to get out and spent the night alone. The next day, I avoided everyone and went home with my parents and began calling a divorce lawyer. My husband tried calling me, but he was saying the same thing, that I was acting childish and needed to just get over it. When I sent him the divorce papers, though, he realized that I am serious and quickly changed his tone. He began apologizing for going against my wishes and said he would never do that again. But the doubt had already made its way into my mind. I was no longer sure if I could spend the rest of my life with him, and by extension, Jacob. I told him that he needs to set his priorities, because if even on his wedding day, he is prioritizing his friend over his wife, then I can't marry him. Jacob hasn't commented on the situation, except of course calling me sensitive and childish, so I am staying firm on my decision to divorce my husband. The rest of the story is linked to the vid and is also pinned in the comments below.